Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from TinaHeals.com, and this video is about Venus conjunct Saturn in the sky and natally. So if you have this placement in your natal chart, then you are definitely restrictive about romance. I mean, life has never given you a very open way to express yourself romantically, or you've been disappointed. When you've been committed, someone wasn't committed, but you took time to commit and you didn't want to commit. So, I mean, there's always some kind of problem in your relationship, especially for the first 30 odd years till your Saturn return. So I have Saturn at the 29 degrees of Leo, which is conjunct the fixed star Regulus, which is the heart of the lion, which has now moved into Virgo 0 and 1. So having Saturn conjunct Regulus 29th degree, I mean, yes, it's very complicated, and my Venus is a few degrees away in Virgo. So it's a wide conjunction, but I can tell you that romance has always had a restrictive feel. Or I do get attracted to the Saturnian types. Uh, Cold, detached, okay, but very responsible, very loyal. So Venus Saturn conjunction in the natal is definitely going to show you a different side of life and love and relationships, more responsibility, more taking authorship for what you're starting. Okay, now very serious people like this are very serious in love, because if they fall in love, then they don't fall out of love easily. They're there for the long haul. Okay, and they long for this kind of really timeless romantic love, but they understand the shackles of the 3D existence, and that love like that cannot truly exist. So this is the dichotomy that's always playing out within them. Saturn, restriction, constriction, seriousness. Okay? Traditionally, Saturn is known as a malefic, and Venus and Jupiter are known as benefics. But think about it, Jupiter gives you abundance, when you overeat, when you overspend. Venus, you're so, into things, materialism, that you forget your soul lessons. So that's where Saturn is not a malefic. Saturn is a great friend. Saturn is a father. Okay, Saturn can be your greatest ally in your spiritual development, your true friend and true ally. So I would suggest, do not look at Saturn as a malefic. Okay, now they know that, okay, romantic love has its ups and downs. They see how the company De Beers made the engagement ring such a huge thing because of marketing. They see things like that. For them, yes, it's about tradition. Saturn is very much about tradition, but they see through the sheer facade, okay, of what's going on. They understand that romantic love is being sold to us as a product, commodified. Okay, lack of self-love. Definitely, I faced this first 29 years of my life. Lack of self-worth, hankering for attention. So this is, a very complicated process of realization that yes, you are worth it, that yes, you can love, yes, you can be loved. Okay, and now also the inability to date easily. Okay, I'm often a date, uh, may not say anything. Okay, because Saturn introverted, so Venus in touch with Saturn feels that introversion, feels that heaviness of spirit, if I may say. Okay, so for this person natally, if you had this in the natal chart, your father was very important to you, super important in your life. Okay, and but maybe he doesn't love easily, or he's cold, he's detached, or he doesn't think emotions are such a big thing. I had a Libra dad, so I mean, for him it was, everything was about duty, responsibility, love. He loved me like crazy, but it was not over the top emotional. So for some people that can be a big loss, especially if you have a Pisces moon. Okay, so something like that. And very restrictive father figure, very restrictive, will stop you, no going out in the night past 11, come back at this and this time, Saturn time. Venus, what we love to do, party, come back home in time. Also can't stay out, can't wear that mini skirt. Your father could have been like that, restrictive, kept you in rules. My childhood was full of rules. Okay, I broke them because I'm just rebellious, but I was made to sit at my desk every single day, whether I studied or not, just because of discipline. So things like that, you know. Feeling of being unloved by this father figure or by father figures, teachers, brothers, uncles, grandparents. This is possible. Okay, emotionlessness is something, you know, that I have seen with this. Emotionlessness coming to you from people, or you becoming like that. Okay, because you just don't know how to express your emotions. You may have all these things welling up inside, but you don't know how to express it. Okay, that's very possible. You felt rejection, right? All of us have. You felt loneliness. You felt isolation. Think of the Hermit card in the tarot deck. Okay, you have been socially awkward. Yippee-doo. You've been, of course, very introverted. You have to check other placements, but you know, Venus conjunct Saturn makes you usually introverted, where you look within more. Okay, so the sense of loneliness is Saturn, because Saturn is isolation, seclusion. So a sense of loneliness, definitely. And you may even like lonely places. Venus is what we like, what we are attracted to. So lonely places, graveyards, old abandoned manors and stuff like that. That you're attracted to all of that, right? Now, remember that, okay, if you see the socially awkward thing, you can see that with Venus and Cappy natally also. Venus and Capricorn. Okay, Saturn rules Capricorns. You can see that with Venus and Capricorn. Socially awkward, introverted, anxious could be. Okay. In some way, you feel unloved by patriarchy and its institutions. Okay, if you're a woman, you probably feel judged by other older men, or you know, they may look down upon you. They may, you know, demean you in some way. You feel that, even if that's not happening. I'm not saying that's not happening, but you feel that very profoundly. Okay, rejected by patriarchy in some way. Remember, conjunctions can be quite iffy, quite difficult energies to assimilate. You keep a small circle with this natally. Okay, even when Venus is conjunct Saturn, you don't go out and meet tons of people. You want a small circle. Okay, a safe zone. Okay, could be divorce, could be tons of breakups with Venus conjunct Saturn in your natal chart. Even when this transit is happening in the skies above, you can see conflict. You know, all that you've, you know, just sort of swept under the carpet about your relationship can just come up. Venus is relationships. Okay, Saturn, the karma bearer, shows you what's working, what's not. So that's something to consider. This is also financial. Venus is money. So Saturn, for the first 30 years, you could have had a very difficult life. Finances could have just been drained, even from your father. All right, and could also be father was a miser. Think of Four of Pentacles, the miser card. Father could have been a miser. There was definitely a lack of money while growing up in childhood in some way. Even if your father was very wealthy, he could have been caught in a scam, and then, you know, all your money was confiscated. So all those cars you drove, everything was taken away. And you had to restart your life. This actually happened to someone I know. So Venus conjunct Saturn always brings about this lack of abundance, especially in the first 30 years till you do not figure out the karma of Saturn. Okay, there's a restriction always. Diminished confidence because of this. Venus is your confidence. Saturn is also your confidence, actually, but it's not always easy to understand what Saturn is teaching you, and we refuse to listen to hard lessons. We refuse to open our hearts to that. But I think it's very important to do so. Saturn is your greatest ally. Don't forget that. Nobody will love you like Saturn. Saturn is the last sphere of the known spheres, and then you go beyond para spheres. Okay, so and then you have, of course, the sphere of Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then you have the fixed stars, right? So you're going higher and higher. Saturn holds your physical body. That's the boundary. You go beyond it. So Saturn wants you to master this 3D world, actually. Okay, so dress sense, very formal. You like to dress formally, austere maybe, grays, blues, blacks. You work very hard. Look at me making these videos. No point how many hits I get. I'm out there talking about what I love, making these videos. So working hard, writing my articles, doing all my readings. Continue working. You work very hard. You really do not care about glamping up or makeup, but you like to be neat and clean. Definitely a conservative buyer, if you ask me. Okay, but of course you have to look at other placements just by looking at, you know, Saturn and Venus, unless they are your ascendant rulers or they are the most you know, active planet in your chart. Then yes, definitely they hold weight. But you can't really tell if someone's miserly or if someone's just, you know, a conservative buyer by just looking at Saturn and Venus conjunction. But Venus is how you buy. Saturn is being conservative. So going by, you know, what we learn in astrology, you can be a conservative buyer. I most certainly am, but sometimes I'm known to not be conservative. Okay, so that's again there. That's why I had to bring this up. You do not like to lose money for for any nonsense, but you tend to lose money for no apparent reasons. Especially the first 32 years of your life, you just tend to lose money out of the blue. You don't know how it happened. You don't know. You're not even happy with what you bought. So you go shopping, you buy all these things, and you come back home like nah, and you're not even happy with what you have. That's another thing that you got to think about. Self-love is the key to this placement. Self-love, believe me. You can check out my video, Venus in Virgo, self-love technique. Very, very powerful with this also. Okay, because Venus is in fall in Virgo. And if you have this Venus, Saturn in Virgo, okay, check that video out. With this in your natal chart, there could be separation, divorce. I told you, there could be confinement. Some people can be confined in some sort of nunnery or maybe incarcerated, okay? Unable to connect with people. Remember that. I am still unable to connect with tons of people. I like one-on-one interactions, okay? Unless I'm taking a class. But you throw me in a huge social situation, you know, I'm just really introverted when it comes to that. Unable to connect, lack of passion. It didn't happen that way with me, but somewhere with Venus conjunct Saturn, that passion could dissipate. Something to think about. Sex, very traditional, very conservative, may even just want missionary. Check that out. Guilt trips, huge. You can be guilt tripped into anything, okay? And if you can guilt trip someone, or you can be guilt tripped. Energy works both ways. Remember, Cheating could happen with this. If you have Venus conjunct Saturn, and of course you have to look at other placements like Mars and all that. But yeah, cheating could happen with this, especially in the 8th house of hidden secrets. 12th house, the iffy houses, right? Now, cheating, domestic violence, if this is a well-placed conjunction natally, then you have a long-term marriage, a very happy, committed relationship, okay? Marriage, engagement, and moving in together, and this is this transit happens in the sky. You can see people propose, okay? Now, if you fall in love with, and you have this Venus conjunct Saturn natally, you're not really romantic. You, as I said, you want to be romantic, but you understand the fallacies of romanticism, shall we say. You like a practical alliance, okay? You like it to be practical. You want an arrangement, may even want a sugar daddy, okay, without the emotional bits. Women who want to be objectified as sex symbols oftentimes have not been validated by their own fathers. And this can show up with this placement in your natal chart. Like you've not been validated by your father, you've not had that love. So you're going to go out there, post selfies on social media, skimpy clothes, and go out there and have sex because you want that affection. You want to somehow feel validated. So you're substituting, you see, which is not a good thing to do. It can even happen to you if you don't have it natally, but you know, this aspect is triggering something in your chart. This could happen to you, okay? Never happy with the way you look. Venus, Saturn, never happy. Okay, especially with me, it's my first house, so right, hard. You don't have fun, very difficult for you to have fun and just let your hair down, as they say, because you're always, you know, sort of stuck up. You can be antisocial in some ways. I don't want to go there. I'm not going to go there. Forget it, okay? You can be frigid with this placement, or you can use sex as a tool of manipulation. And sex can be used as a power trip, okay? That's very possible. Think of who has Venus conjunct Saturn. I have Bill Gates, Edgar Cayce, and my country, India. Look at us. We have Venus conjunct Saturn, repressed. Women repressed. Patriarchy, ruling patriarchy. Now, but remember, this is not all bad. This can give one tremendous artistic expression and give focus to make money through art in whatever field they choose. Okay, can make you an intellectual. Saturn and Venus together can very well make you an intellectual, give you that time to study. So you do not always out socializing. So you want to study, you want to learn, you want to grow. And for instance, Venus and Saturn on the ascendant can make one slow, lazy. I have it on my ascendant almost, a wide conjunction. I can be lazy. I'm not very slow, I'm very quick, but I can be lazy, believe me. It can indicate secrets, because Saturn is secrets and Venus is pleasure. So it can speak of a secret love affair, right? And in the 7th, if you have a conjunction in the 7th, can mean a mistress. Venus conjunct Saturn in your 7th house could mean your partner has a mistress. I'm not saying he has to, but if you're suspicious and you see this in his 7th house, possibilities loom large. Okay, Saturn can take away freedom from Venus. Venus is freedom loving, but Saturn can take this away. And Venus is, after all, happiness, luxury, comfort. And Saturn is hard work, melancholia, austerity, right? Now, traditions. Now, in the 4th house, if you have Venus conjunct Saturn, it can mean you like traditional decor, okay? And you like vintage things, you like old things, antiques and vintage stuff, right? You love all that. 5th house can be a miser with your love, with your money. You may have late conception or problems with childbirth. All right. Sixth house, huge debts can occur with this if this is happening in your sixth house. Enemies, pets can die. Okay, I've experienced, because I'm an animal rescue, I've experienced this a lot. They're not pets necessarily, but they're small animals, sixth house. And for me, that is Aquarius, again Saturn ruled, so pets can die, you know, with this. Seventh house, I said divorce, separation. Eighth house, hidden money, very possible. So so on and so forth, you know. That was a bit about Saturn and Venus conjunct up in the skies, very close to one another, say the 3 degrees on both sides, and you have the 7 degrees activated if you have Saturn conjunct Venus. Let me know if you felt all these things and what has been your experience. Subscribe, because then I can continue making videos. Go to my website and book a reading or check out my merchandise. Thank you.